Superman 1983-7 here. Just got off work, so I'm sorry about my attire. So, Sami's Atari made another video about the last video that I commented to about what type of evidence would atheists need in order to believe in a deity or a god or his god or any god. And I guess an overwhelming majority of people came up with this, I would have to see something like a miracle in front of my eyes, like someone who just got cancer prayed that they didn't have cancer and boom, the cancer's gone. Or someone that just lost an arm would, as Sami said, an arm would shoot forth, and that would be an overwhelming evidence for God, right? So, Sami goes on talking about intrinsic reasons why the universe is the proof of God, because it's right at this right point to sustain life, to occupy humans, to give us all the food and sustenance we need. And he goes into explaining his point by backing it up and saying, if you look at a plane, if you look at the structure of the plane, if you look at how it flies, how it pressurizes, the mechanics of it, and everything like that, if you look at it, then you can see it's been designed, right? And he said you can see there's an intelligent designer behind it, and the plane functions for the pilot, thus an intelligent designer. So, if you look at the universe and everything in that manner, and as he says, most theists would look at the universe in such a way, then this is undeniable proof that there is a God because of this universe and because of the grandiose design of it. So, and this argument's already been refuted, Sami. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to come up with some sort of other empirical evidence for a God, because although the universe is fine-tuned for life right now, it won't be in the future, right? Because, as you know, everything's expanding, moving away from each other. So right now it can sustain life. It can provide the right temperatures to sustain humans right now. And in a few hundred million years or a few hundred billion years, we won't. Everything will expand to the point where sun can't reach the earth, everything will freeze over, the entire universe will pretty much be a popsicle. So, and that kind of makes sense, because at the start of the universe, when everything, after the creation of the universe, so the Big Bang is what I go by, everything was extremely, extremely hot, and that's how it got to this point where we can sustain life right now, because everything's moving away from each other, thus cooling everything down, providing the right temperatures and the right atmosphere to sustain life. So you have to understand, Sami, that although the universe is brilliant and beautiful, and no one can deny that, even atheists can deny that when you look up there, it almost looks too perfect, right? It almost looks too perfect to have just happened. But you have to look at the bigger picture, all right? Because it appears to be one way doesn't mean that it is that way, right? That's a horrible thinking process, to think that because something looks tuned, fine-tuned, right, means that a deity must have done it, because it could never have happened by itself, right? Well, lots of things happen that way. The evolution of the eye. The eye slowly evolved from picking up shadows to picking up minute bits of color to actually evolving to what we have today. And this is just in humans. Like, other animals have much better vision than we do. Much better vision than we do. So if God was to provide us with all the best things, to provide us with the perfect amount of everything, so our existence here would, be great, then he would fine-tune our eyes. So our eyes are better than every other animal on here. We can run faster than any other animal, right? We are only at the top of the food chain because of our basic intellect, what we have right now. We can think our way out of pretty much any situation. So, Sammy, your argument for the plane and the universe and the miracles and everything, I get it. But you have to go back to my video and realize what I said, okay? The evidence required for atheists to believe in a deity would have to be the extreme point of evidence, right? We would actually have to physically see him. Or not just physically see him, we'd have to have some sort of, maybe we can't physically see him. We don't even know if this guy is even visible to the eye, right? So let's say he isn't visible to the eye. And even if he did want to come down here, we couldn't see him in the first place. We would need some sort of grand sign, him turning the stars into words and saying, I am here. This is God. And then the stars going back to where they were before, right? That would be overwhelming evidence that there is a deity, all right? Now, take into account that in my last video I stated the type of evidence required would make faith no more, all right? There would be no such thing as a faith, right? There would be no such thing as faith in a deity because the evidence is there. It's proven reality at this point in time, all right? So you have to understand that in order to prove, or the type of evidence that we would need for your God to prove he was real, would completely and utterly extinguish the faith factor in your religion. There would be no such thing as faith anymore. There would just be knowledge of it. So, taking into account what I said, Sammy, and your horrible argument stating it, it's like I've seen a lot of your videos, and you're much, much smarter than this, and you could have come up with a much more compelling argument to back up, your point of view or your standpoint, right? And I know you can, right? So what I want you to do is I would like you to make a better video to kind of solidify your standpoint and your area of thinking. Because this is, as you can tell, like I know you don't like agreeing with atheists or me, but you have to understand that this is a really horrible argument, considering we know that everything is moving away from each other. And if your only argument for empirical evidence of a God is that everything is fine-tuned right now for life, then that God pretty much put us here so we could become extinct, so we could be no more. You have to understand that. So, taking all that into perspective, Sammy, try to make another video. Try to come up with different points and go from there. Anyway, Superman 1983-7, I'm out. Have a good day.